evening, dear doctor and our classmates. Welcome to our channel. Today we will show a critical review. And the paper we selected is ESL Teachers' Challenges in Implementing e-Learning during COVID-19. Then, an introduction. We are Saaline and Xinxin. Hope you like our presentation. Let's begin the formal presentation. Firstly, basic information about the article. And the author is Brenda Lucas and Molor MD Unis. Then, the content. We have 9 parts in this presentation, and I will introduce the introduction about the review and the summary of this article. My partner Saaline will introduce the critical review, reflection and suggestion for this article, and we also have some questions for our dear classmates. Now, I begin to introduce the summary of this article. It includes 5 parts. They are introduction about the review, problem statement, research objectives, methods, results and findings, and conclusion. The first part, introduction. In this review, we analyze Brenda Lucas and Molor MD Unis, ESL Teachers' Challenges in Implementing e-Learning during COVID-19. The whole study includes 8 parts. They are abstract, introduction, literature review, methodology, finding and discussion, conclusion, implication, and reference. The review first summarizes the article and then analyzes it from different aspects to evaluate the effectiveness of the article in achieving its set goals, as well as its values as a reliable resource. The second part, problem statement. Across the globe, the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic has led that Malaysian government has enforced movement control order. Movement control order has affected educational institutions, and in order to make sure learning continues, face-to-face classes being replaced by virtual learning. However, teachers faced many challenges in implementing e-learning during COVID-19. These challenges range from ICT skills, lack of motivation and training, and poor access to the internet, resources and materials, to name just a few. The third part, research objectives. This study investigates the challenges ESL teachers faced in implementing e-learning during COVID-19. To be more specific, this study investigated the challenges faced by primary ESL teachers while implementing e-learning during COVID-19. This study also discovered ESL teachers' experience of e-learning effectiveness during COVID-19. The fourth part, methods. It includes 4 parts. The first is research design, then research participants, research instrument, and research procedure and analysis. Research design. It uses qualitative approach, and it is a case study. It involves 20 primary ESL teachers, and its aim mentioned here again. Research participants. Majority of participants are female, and the range of age is from 23 to 16 years, and they are from urban, suburban, and rural schools, and they are degree holders in TESOL, and they teach from year 1 to year 6 primary schools. And there is a table of demographic profile of participants. Research instrument. This study employed an interview to obtain and achieve the study objectives. They answered the interview questions completely through online by means of WhatsApp application, where each interview lasted for 10 to 15 minutes through audio and video calls. And the interview consisted of 11 questions adapted from online, and it is considered as an important tool for teachers to include their views and opinions about online teaching and the use of technology during the hard circumstances like the present crisis. Research procedures and analysis. 5 steps data analysis model. Based on this model, the research transcribed and filtered the original data from the interview. This was intentionally done to omit unnecessary data and retrieve important details. The answers given by the interviewees were categorized into several patterns or sub-themes using the notes function. Next, the list of the themes were then classified into few main themes. Lastly, the researcher proceeded with the report by writing the interview results. There are the whole content 4 methods. Let's begin the 5-part, results and findings. It can be divided into 4 parts, as can be seen in this thematic map. A is teachers' experience of e-learning effective during COVID-19. B is teacher methods for effective lesson. C is challenges of e-learning implementation faced by teachers. D is students' participation and assessment. The first part, teachers' experience of e-learning effective during COVID-19. All the participants mainly use WhatsApp for their online teaching. Online applications used as follows: WhatsApp 75%, Google Classroom 15%, Room 10%, Quizzes 25%. Some of the experts from the interviews, we can take picture and put it. In terms of lesson plan, 15 teachers prepared their lesson plans according to syllabus and statement of work. Another 5 had uncertainty of lesson plan. Teaching methods for effective lesson. The first is WhatsApp. The second is sending pictures or video as extra support material. Notwithstanding, teachers had to utilize various methods to teaching online during COVID-19. Some others liked the idea of it, as they can access to plenty of English material to share with the students on the spot, compared to the traditional classroom teaching. The third part, challenges of e-learning implementation faced by teachers. In spite of their optimistic views about e-learning, teachers also mentioned a few of its limitations, such as readiness to adapt to e-learning, technological barrier in terms of internet connection and devices, and classroom management in terms of students' participation and assessment. Teachers' readiness in terms of technology experience and competence was one of the challenges mentioned in the interview. The second main challenge was technological barrier in terms of accessibility to internet and devices like mobile phone and laptops. The fourth part, students' participation and assessment. Some students were not familiar with online learning. Then students struggled a great deal with gadgets, such as mobile phone, as most of them did not own one. Moreover, learners from the rural area which had poor or no internet connection. Teachers will need to find other alternatives to deliver the lessons, which again caused students to be delayed in learning. Due to these factors, students were gradually losing interest and motivation in joining online classes. Finally, conclusion in this article. In the conclusion, research first concluded the finding on this study. The majority of teachers expressed that the use of online teaching was effective, but with various limitations. There were limitations connected to teachers' readiness to adopt online teaching, accessibility to mobile phone and internet connectivity, classroom management in terms of low students' participation and assessment. Okay, that's all for my summary. Thank you so much for listening. And then my partner Saaline will introduce critical review.
Next, we will look at critical review for this paper. The critical review for this paper were divided into 6 parts. First, we will look at the introduction, followed by problem statement, and followed by research objective. We will also look at the methods, findings, conclusion, as well as reflection about the issue raised in the study. As for introduction, we will look at the title of the study. The title is concise enough and basically includes the research topic, but it is not accurate enough. The author should make sure that the title is clear enough so that readers will not find that this is not the article they want after reading for a long time. From the paper, we can see that this study is based on primary schools in Malaysia and it is a case study. As a case study mentioned by Bajil 2008 in the Guidelines to the Writing of Case Studies, the title of a case study should generally contain the phrase case study, case report, or case series as is appropriate to the contents and compound. However, in this title, we don't see any word mentioned about case study. So, the suggested title for this study would be a case study of challenges faced by primary ESL teachers in Malaysia and the experiences with e-learning. Next, we will look at the problem statement. A problem statement is an introduction to a research manuscript as it conveys the issue and context to be studied. McGee 2001. As we can see in this study, the problem statement clearly states the issues and the content need to be studied. The problem statement for this study, teachers had to opt to online learning or known as e-learning due to the MCO or known as Movement Control Order, and teachers faced a lot of challenges. Here, the issue is about opting to e-learning, and the context need to be studied is teachers face a lot of challenges. So we can clearly see that this is a good problem statement. Hence, the objective of the research were mentioned clearly that to study challenges teachers faced. As for research questions, besides challenges, the study also tend to discover ESL teachers' experience on e-learning. The consistency in problem and purpose and research question improve the logic and transparency of research, as it will make the research reports more readable. Newman and Corrick 2013. In this study, the problem statement, research objective, and research questions are consistent and connected to each other. Therefore, it makes this is a good study and researcher has came out with a good problem statement. Moving on to the methodology part. Researcher has divided the methodology part into several aspects. We can look at the sampling, ethical issue, data collection, and data analysis. Researchers choose this suitable sampling method. According to Martin 1996, there are three types of sampling for a qualitative research, and a purposive sampling is the most common technique that was selected so that researcher can select the most productive sampling to answer the research question. Here, it's obvious that researcher used the purposive sampling because criteria of the participants were determined by the researcher. Researcher chose teachers who has degree holders in TESOL, primary school English teachers, aged 23 to 30 years, and teachers teaching in rural schools. As for ethical issues, informed consent, providing participants with a clear information about the research and giving them the rights whether to participate or no. Before conducting the interview, researcher got the participants to sign the consent form. In this study, there is no ethical issues, as researcher already mentioned that he already got the consent signature from the participants. Looking at the data collection method that suits the qualitative case study were carried out. Data collection strategies were also described clearly as 5-step data analysis model were used. There were no any pilot studies mentioned in the studies. As for data analysis, Since researchers used the 5 steps data analysis, data got from the participants were categorized into teams and were described clearly as it is one of the steps in the data analysis. These are the 5 steps of data analysis model used by researchers in this study. The first one is the transcription and cleaning of original data. Second, coding the data. Third, generating the teams. Fourth, categorizing the team. And fifth, producing the report. From this research, we can see all the 5 steps of data analysis model that were implemented in this research, from transcription, coding the data, and from the data from the participants, researchers generate the teams and finally categorize the teams into different sub-teams before producing the reports in the finding. Looking at the findings of the research, based on the findings, the study were able to identify the challenges faced by teachers and also ESL teachers' experience of e-learning. Some of the challenges faced by teachers were mentioned using certain supportive data. Newt's function were used to categorize the data given by interviews into sub-teams, and there were 4 sub-teams in this research. And also the findings were reported and were analyzed as well. Data were not only reported but were also analyzed as well using graph and pictures to support the text. Qualitative researcher must select from an array of representational style and format those that best suits their research purpose, methods, data, as well as balancing the description and analysis and interpretation. Margaret 2017. Some of the excerpts from the findings. Researcher included some of the experts from the findings so that readers could see the difference of experience and challenges faced by the teachers. As been said by Margaret 2017, in the findings we could see that researcher already balanced between the description, analysis and interpretation in different parts of the findings so that the findings will look more organized and understandable. Next, looking on at the reflections about the raised issue of the study. The importance and implication of the study were identified. Recommendation recommended will be guide for future researcher to conduct the study, as this is a current issue we are facing in the pandemic and educators have to opt to e-learning. Through this study, future researcher will be able to conduct studies to solve the challenges faced by teachers. Here are some of the suggestions for future studies. First, improving students' participation for online classes. Since one of the challenges faced by teachers is to improve the students' participation, this kind of study will actually give an idea for teachers on how to improve students' participation for online classes. Second, type of courses for pre-service teachers on conducting online classes and interesting activities for online classes. These types of research could actually improve teachers' readiness towards online learning, as one of the challenges faced by teachers is the readiness to do online learning because they were not exposed to online learnings before. Finally, how to conduct offline lesson during pandemic. This will be a good study because many students and teachers face problem with a good internet connection. Hence, this research will actually help researchers and teachers to gain more idea on how they can conduct offline lessons for students during the pandemic. Finally, let's look at two questions based on this study. The first question: what are some of the apps you use to conduct your online classes and share the activities you had conducted? Second question: in your opinion, what are the opportunities and challenges of online education? You may answer in the group WhatsApp and also in the Padlet. Thank you.